Hi everyone, it's Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Welcome to the Building Michigan Community Conference. I want to thank you all for your hard work to help more Michiganders find a place to call home. In 2019, nearly half of Michigan renters and almost 1 in 5 homeowners paid too much for housing, a situation that's been exacerbated by the pandemic. Also, our housing supply is aging. Almost half of our housing units were built before 1970. We have a lot of work to do to meet our housing needs. And that's why I'm excited about MSHDA's new statewide housing plan. A lot of work went into the plan, and I'm grateful to everyone who helped get it done. The plan sets ambitious but attainable statewide housing targets. It builds or refurbishes 75,000 units, reduces equity gaps, improves energy efficiency, and so much more. Implementing the plan will require local and regional collaboration, and I know we are up to the challenge. So let's get it done and help more Michiganders find a safe, affordable place to call home.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the launch of the statewide housing plan. Big shout out to Governor Whitmer for opening this session, but also appreciation for her efforts along with the state legislature in providing historic funding for affordable and attainable housing in Michigan. We've never seen anything like this in history. Given the need to make sure the plan is fully polished in collaboration with Governor Whitmer, the plan will not be released this week. Instead, an overview document has been prepared and will be presented by Tiffany King, who's in MSHDA's Office of Equity and Engagement. But before I bring on Tiffany, we need to really appreciate the incredible amount of effort of all the people who have been a part of this huge effort. We had an incredible team of people from partner organizations who are involved in housing in Michigan and the effort they put in helping to put the plan together. There was a state agency group that worked alongside the partner group to review and look at different initiatives. We also had over 6,000 people who did a survey so that we could get real information about what was happening in Michigan. And of course, I have to give a big thank you to the MSHDA team and to public policy associates who really spearheaded the whole effort. It has been an incredible undertaking, and it will soon become reality. It will be the base of how we will address housing strategies in the future. So with that, I want to turn it over to Tiffany King, who's going to present the overview. Tiffany?
All right, thank you, Gary. I am going to share my screen. All right. So thank you for this opportunity to talk about the work that's been underway to create Michigan's first statewide housing plan. I'm going to start first by mentioning a few data points that's really important to how we made data-driven decisions in regards to addressing the needs of Michigan residents. So I'm just going to highlight some 2019 data, pre-pandemic data. This is the data that was available at the time that we started this planning process. And the data is just really going to highlight the need for more safe, healthy, accessible, and affordable housing in Michigan. Additionally, it just amplifies, as we know, because the numbers probably have not, may look worse. Given the pandemic, the need for more systemic housing, addressing systemic housing inequities facing Michigan residents. So 50% of renters are paying too much for housing. That's over 30% of their income. Between 2013 and 2020, housing prices rose 84% compared to the national average of 39%. Making it difficult for many families to afford to buy a home. We have almost half of Michigan's housing stock is over 50 years old, Many of these units may require substantial rehabilitation to be safe and accessible for their occupants. There was also a reduction in the number of building permits being pulled from 2016 to 2020, then compared to 1986 to 2006, aiding in the lack of adequate housing supply for Michiganders. And in addition, it was clear from a survey that we took, a public survey, that way too many Michiganders do not know where to go to find information on housing. So there is truly a need to do a lot more. So I'm just going to highlight some additional data points. This highlights the disparity associated with the rate of home ownership among marginalized groups, specifically comparing Black home ownership to white home ownership in Michigan. Since the 2008 crisis, there's been the financial crisis, Black home ownership rate has fallen behind. And the gap between Black and white home ownership is now wider than more than 50 years ago. That's right before 1968, the Fair Housing Act. And the Fair Housing Act was put in place to prohibit housing discrimination. 52% of people are experiencing homelessness are Black. And this is important in a huge disparity given the fact that Blacks only make up 14% of Michigan's population. Also recognizing that 14% of the homeless population has a disability compared to 14% of Michigan's population with a disability. I also want to highlight the fact that 17% of Michigan population are older adults. And older adults are a significant and growing population in Michigan. Older adults often have reduced and fixed financial resources and face a number of housing challenges that need to be addressed. So I want to highlight a couple things, and Gary mentioned this before, but it's just to talk about the efforts that we're taking to get feedback from a number of different players, partners, the community in creating this plan. It is vital to the success of this plan that we undertook an equitable and inclusive process. So steps were taken in regards to a public survey where we had over 6,500 participants, the Partner Advisory Council group that provided input into the plan, identifying goals and strategies and outcome measures, the establishment of a state agency group that aided in the development of the plan. It was important that we align State Department goals, statewide plans, and activities where possible to maximize the impact of state services and resources in the community. This effort also included connecting with organizations to form solution work group meetings to hear their feedback from community stakeholders. We conducted focus group meetings and interviews with people with lived experience, along with interviews with housing experts and key partners throughout the state of Michigan. So we had close to 7,000 people provide feedback as we created this plan. So the vision: Michigan's successful housing ecosystem provides safe, healthy, affordable, accessible, and attainable housing for all in a community of their choice. The ecosystem consists of components that interconnect to create or impact one's quality of life. The priorities talk a little bit about our priorities here. The plan denotes the importance of equity and inclusion and human-centeredness in regards to the intersection of all these important systems in creating housing. But what's really important is the fact that these challenges can't overcome the assets that we have in our community, which is the people, the successful models of collaboration, the institutions of higher learning, and the state is known for innovation, just to name a few. It frames how we create housing stability by taking our assets and using it to address the housing challenges. This framework looks at our data, it looks at education, it looks at programming, it looks at investment, collaboration, inclusion, and using those elements to address the challenges. Michigan faces growing challenges in housing and availability, construction, and the development costs that impact communities all around the state. Production of new housing falls far short to the demand. And as a result, existing housing historically that basically supplied housing for middle income and low income families is scarce. Also, the plan is designed to address systemic inequalities rooted in historical and current practices and policies. So I just want to highlight some of the key targets that have been identified in this plan. And these are the very minimum targets that will be achieved through this statewide effort. We plan to work with industry partners to add to these targets to ensure help reaches even more Michigan households. Additional focus will be made on how to increase these targets at the regional level. So as you see, we have 75,000 new or rehabilitated housing units identified, 100,000 households being stabilized, significantly reducing equity gaps in homelessness and homeownership, striving to make homelessness rare, and then 15,000 households increase home energy efficiency and weatherization improvements. So this is the information in regard to the statewide housing plan. We plan to engage in implementation as well. And I will stop sharing my screen and talk a little bit about what implementation is planned for this initiative. So as part of implementation, it's really important that we engage not only state partners, but also regional partners. And as part of that implementation, we will be providing support and staffing to help move this effort forward. We plan to create regional action plans, and through those regional action plans, we plan to create a dashboard and make that dashboard available and transparent to the community as a whole. So throughout this process, we're looking to work with partners to feed into this plan, and then to provide that information on an ongoing basis across the state. So we're looking forward to having individuals get involved in this process, figuring out how they can feed into making these challenges addressed so that we can support our communities. So I will stop it there, and we will move on to Colleen Graber from PPA. Thank you.
Hi. Hello, I'm Colleen Graber. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Public Policy Associates. I served with Tiffany King and Karen Gagnon from MISHDA as the Plan Development Lead, along with the team at Public Policy Associates. Our firm is a Lansing-based firm that does research and consulting, soon celebrating our 31st anniversary. I would like to acknowledge the work of our team and the skill and dedication that they put into this project. Professionally and as a resident of Michigan, I've been really honored to help guide this plan in its development. It's been wonderful to work with MISHDA, the advisory groups, and to gather input from partner organizations and members of the public, and then to see the priorities and goals emerge from their diverse voices. The process has been an inclusive one, as has been mentioned several times. It's been a lot of input to work with and synthesize, but that input is part of what makes this plan and its results unique. and responsive to the complex challenges of Michigan's housing. So I'm pleased to be able to introduce some of the members of those advisory groups who are here today to say a few words about their experience and their thoughts about the plan. I'm going to start with two members of the state advisory group who contributed their time and excellent thinking to the plan's development. So I'll introduce them both now and then they'll speak. So we have Sarah Ranero, who is VP Regional Director of the Community Assistance Team at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. And then Nina Sassy, Director, Policy and Planning at the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Thanks, Colleen. MEDC's vision is to achieve long-term economic prosperity for Michiganders by investing in communities, enabling the growth of good jobs, and promoting Michigan's strong image worldwide. MEDC supports the growth of vibrant, diverse, and resilient communities across the state by providing economic development services and programs to attract and retain talent in Michigan communities. Providing quality housing is located in vibrant, walkable places with access to businesses, public services, cultural amenities, and community assets will help realize the talent gains articulated in the state's vision. Adding quality, attainable housing in these districts can also support the equity goals established by the state's vision, as these places often provide greater access to public space, community services, public and non-motorized transportation, jobs, and other important resources that impact the quality of life and may reduce household budget costs. The MEDC appreciates the partnership with MISHDA. I know that I've enjoyed participating in this this adventure as well as some of my colleagues at the MEDC, and we look forward to being part of sharing this information on the statewide housing plan, as well as working towards implementation with all of you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Nina Sassy, Policy and Planning Director, and I'm here representing public health. Housing stability, quality, safety, and affordability all impact health outcomes. So I'm so very excited that we were a part of developing the statewide housing plan, and just so grateful for the intentionality that MISHDA took in making sure that they had state and local partners at the table, and that they were really making sure they had all sectors involved in collaborating. Just last month, my department, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, released our social determinants of health strategy, where we're looking at upstream prevention. So again, looking at housing, looking at food, all of those social and environmental factors that influence health outcomes. And it's been so great to be able to work and collaborate with MISHDA with both the plan and the strategy to make sure that, again, our recommendations and initiatives are aligned. So again, so very thrilled to be a part of this conversation and bring that health and equity lens to the conversation. Looking forward to the release of the strategy and just further collaboration.
Thank you very much, both of you, for all of your contributions. Next, I'm going to introduce three members of the Partner Advisory Council. And so this group has shared over many months, like the other, their insights and ideas each time they met and really contributed heavily to the plan. So first we have Shannon Morgan, Managing Partner of Renovare Development. Then there will be Eric Huffnagel, who is the Executive Director of the Michigan Coalition Against Homelessness, followed by Sandra Pearson, who is President and CEO of Habitat for Humanity Michigan.
Good afternoon. I'm so pleased today to bring you the statewide housing plan. As a mother, I've dedicated my 25-year career to housing because housing is the foundation of which my family lives. So it's something I'm extremely passionate about. I have worked throughout the state of Michigan to produce thousands of units of housing and work with communities and stakeholders to create comprehensive solutions, which is highlighted in this plan. Real world solutions that we need desperately in the state of Michigan to create attainable and affordable housing for the broad spectrum of populations that we serve. It's an honor to work with the partnership committee as stakeholders to create these solutions. And I believe that MISTA and the state of Michigan has set a precedent for the nation to follow. So just so happy to present this. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Glad to see so many people tuning in to see the rollout here. The Michigan Coalition Against Homelessness has really been extremely pleased to be fully represented on the Statewide Housing Plan Partner Advisory Council. We've really been able to bring our lens and our experience to the table throughout the process, as so many other groups have. And that involved attendance of regular meetings, representation on focus groups, and individual engagement through really what I would say is a robust review and feedback process that was in place throughout. We're really looking forward to this plan getting legs as we shift into an implementation phase and want to see these recommendations moving forward. So now I'll turn it over to Sandy.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for inclusion with the plan. I want to give a shout out to all of the housers and service providers out there who are doing the hard work and doing what we can to stay centered on the needs of Michiganders, starting with house and home. As Jill Ferrari said in her session, it all starts with love and partnership and is driven by need. As Dr. Donna Beagle proclaimed, without subsidized housing, I never would have made it. And as Majora Carter shared, community development includes scattered site, mixed income, mixed use, gathering places, and opportunities to own homes for people with low incomes. Those are the game changers, and that's what the statewide housing plan represents. Together, we have an opportunity to correct our history of unequal housing, concentrated poverty, and discrimination. Our statewide housing plan brought the right people together to represent an inclusive process, bringing us together as partners with the ability and, more importantly, the will to be the change. Together, we will do more fairly and justly empowerment of Michiganders, starting with home. Thank you.
Thank you for those wonderful comments. Next, I'd like to welcome Michelle LaJoy, who is the Executive Director, Alger Marquette Community Action, and board member of the Community Economic Development Association of Michigan, followed by Conan Smith, who is the President and CEO of the Michigan Environmental Council. And to wrap us up from the Partner Advisory Council will be Amin Irving, President of Janasco Development Company.
Good afternoon. As others have said, it is an honor to be part of the Statewide Housing Plan Partnership Advisory Council to develop a plan that is a shared vision in addressing housing issues and the needs in the Upper Peninsula and the Lower Peninsula. It is also true today, as it was first stated by Sergeant Shriver in establishing community action agencies, is that community action is local action. Many of our fellow CAP agencies are also CEDAM members who are invested across the state working on critical housing and other community development issues. CAM, along with CEDAM and its membership, look forward to partnering with MISTA to execute the plan and ultimately ensure all Michiganders have access to stable, quality, and affordable housing to call home. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Conan Smith. I'm the president and CEO of the Michigan Environmental Council. So proud to join the nearly 400 of us who are here to celebrate the launch of this plan. Our role in the world is to make sure that the housing sector is as sustainable as it possibly can be. And I am so pleased with the outcome of this plan. It is comprehensive in nature, and it was comprehensive in the scope and diversity of the engagement in creating it. So there is so much richness in this plan that we all can be proud of. When we think about the 150,000 units that we need to develop it for affordable housing over the next 20 years, and the challenges that we're facing in the environmental arena around climate change, for example, we know that building sustainably has to be a centerpiece of that effort. And this plan recognizes that and makes it so. It also notes that there are vulnerabilities in our communities that the residents of affordable housing are going to face. And so not only do the homes themselves need to be sustainable and accessible and affordable for that whole span of living in the home, the communities that they are based in also need to be resilient. And that's a part of this plan as well. It's a plan that we can all be proud of and we should all be excited about. And for sure, it's going to take the full engagement of all of us to realize its grand ambitions. So get ready to roll up your sleeves. Amin?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. When I think about this, I think that, we should never forget that access to quality, affordable housing is just as important, if not more important, than roads, car insurance premiums, and ongoing pandemic relief. I applaud Governor Whitmer, her administration, and the legislature for not only coming together and recently passing the single largest state investment in housing and community development, totaling $654 million, but also developing a statewide housing plan to ensure that these funds are thoughtfully and strategically spent. If the pandemic, Eric, has taught me anything, it's taught me that there are four fundamental needs of a human being, right? Hope, water, food, and shelter. And although there are many important challenges that need to be solved, we should always make it a priority to protect the peace that comes with safe, healthy, accessible, and affordable housing for all. Michigan's statewide housing plan, along with the recently passed bipartisan supplemental bill, sends a clear message to all that affordable housing matters. And with that, I'll pass the mic over to Karen.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. And thanks, Amin, and everyone else. There's a couple things. My name is Karen, and I worked with Tiffany and others to help create the plan. And at the beginning of our launch today, we shared a video from the governor. And because I knew a lot of folks were coming in to the session, to the launch from having heard Tim Wise, we want to take another moment to share the video of the governor. And then Tiffany King, who is our Equity and Inclusion Officer at the Michigan State Housing Development Authority and lead on creating the statewide housing plan, will share about the 8 priorities of the plan. So if you could, let's welcome the governor's video.
Hi everyone, it's Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Welcome to the Building Michigan Community Conference. I want to thank you all for your hard work to help more Michiganders find a place to call home. In 2019, nearly half of Michigan renters and almost 1 in 5 homeowners paid too much for housing, a situation that's been exacerbated by the pandemic. Also, our housing supply is aging. Almost half of our housing units were built before 1970. We have a lot of work to do to meet our housing needs. And that's why I'm excited about MSHDA's new statewide housing plan. A lot of work went into the plan, and I'm grateful to everyone who helped get it done. The plan sets ambitious but attainable statewide housing targets. It builds or refurbishes 75,000 units, reduces equity gaps, improves energy efficiency, and so much more. Implementing the plan will require local and regional collaboration, and I know we are up to the challenge. So let's get it done and help more Michiganders find a safe, affordable place to call home.
All right, so I just wanted to highlight the priorities of the plan. So the plan denotes the importance of equity, inclusion, human-centeredness, community, intersection between systems, and housing as a social determinant of health. The plan puts people at the core of the goals and strategies and recognizes that listening to the voices of those who have experienced housing challenges and should be involved throughout the process to help contribute to successful solutions. This plan also reflects an understanding that housing intersects with a variety of other issues, including health, work, transportation, environment, education, just to name a few. The COVID-19 pandemic amplified existing disparities in housing access, as well as other indicators of health and quality of life. These disparities exist along demographics and also geographic lines when it comes to urban, suburban, and rural. So we want to make sure that we are addressing the challenges of Michigan. And so these are the 8 priority areas within the plan. A focus on equity is interwoven throughout the plan. Equity and racial justice, the housing ecosystem, the connectivity to other things that help produce a quality of life, preventing and ending homelessness, housing stock, older adult housing, rental housing, home ownership, communication, and education. So it's important that we move and work together. These challenges are too great for just a small group of organizations to get engaged. It requires a statewide focus and effort. So to be involved in the statewide housing plan, we ask that you connect with us through our newsletter. Opportunities will become available to engage in the process, and we look forward to you helping us move Michigan forward. So thank you.
All right, thanks, Tiffany. And thanks to all of you for coming to our SHIP launch today, our statewide housing plan launch. The website for the housing plan is michigan.gov/housing plan, all one. And we will, as our acting executive director, Gary Heidel, mentioned earlier, the plan itself, there's just a few things and we want it to be the best it can. So the plan will be launched or will be available in several weeks from now. And in the meantime, we put a very hearty overview that should be ready on our website. There might just be a little bit of time before it's actually active. And so we have an overview for you. I am also chair of the Building Michigan Communities Conference, and this was the launch of the statewide housing plan. Was how we are ending our conference. The theme of our conference was action. We want to act with energy. And so this is perfect to talk about a little wrap up and summary, a quick thank you to everyone involved with the conference, especially those in attendance. All our sessions are recorded, and the more that are accessing the recordings, we might even be able to have it launch or have the recordings available to the end of June. All the advertisers are sponsors to MISHDA, to the planning group, the advisory group, the keynotes, the governor. Thank you. Congratulations to Jason Pelletier, the DuVernay Award winner this year. We'll be mailing you surveys, and other surveys have been provided throughout the Building Michigan Communities Conference. And it's important to hear from you because it's about you, it's for you, and that's how we plan for next year. So I hope that you heard something that inspired you to action. Our next year conference hopefully will be in person because the star of the show is networking and it's hard to do virtually. So save the date for May 9 and 10 of 2023. So from when we started with HUD's Regional Administrator, Diane Shelley, talking about appraisals, to our ending keynote of Tim Wise, talking about the need for equitable appraisals, to Dr. Donald Beagle, See Poverty Be the Difference, historical detail perspective with our book club, Dr. Kevin Boyle, author of Arc of Justice, to Majora Carter, Reclaiming Your Neighborhood, and why aren't we doing with our communities what businesses do to retain and attract talent, to Dr. Kevin Coakley about the imposter phenomenon, know that you are enough, and we need you. To Tim Wise, the backlash that we may feel in our equity work, wear it as a badge of honor. And I can't think of more perfect to wrap it up than the launching of the statewide housing plan that is going to require all hands on deck and all of you to assist. Again, michigan.gov/housing plan. We close out this year's 2022 Building Michigan Communities Conference, and I can't thank you enough. Take good care. Bye.